Guru Pema. I was just thinking how amazing it is that I've survived for the past 2 years in the company that I work for. Not that that in itself is amazing, but the amazing thing is that I've been transparent. I've been honest the whole time. Whenever there was any issues where there was friction or there was something that didn't get done or what have you, I was honest. Didn't lie, didn't try to obfuscate, didn't, say that I did things when I didn't do that. And the leadership of my company in turn is they're also very good people. So I've always felt that as long as I'm sincere with them, they'll give me a good shake. And that trust, I think, is when I hear people talk about other companies, it's just the cattiness, the vindictiveness, the mistrust. I'm like, how can you fucking work for those people? I'm also a hard worker, which definitely helps. I'm competent. I'm capable of getting stuff done. So I'm a good worker. My bosses are good bosses. They treat me fairly. I'm sincere and honest with them. And because of this, I really feel invested in the company. I feel ownership. I feel like I'm part of a team. Genuinely. And I'm not a naive person. I've been around the block. I'm 37 years old. I know I'm not being taken for a ride. I can read people pretty well. And it's a breath of fresh air to be part of an organization that's based in transparency and ethics, which is a key feature of the book that I'm writing, basically. One of the main points of my book is that there's been a breakdown in trust. And this comes from like a deep epistemological paradox with sentience itself, that we withhold parts of ourself, right, our shadow, that we don't want other people to see, and we're afraid of them seeing that shadow and whatnot, right? That whole cycle of unconscious repression and projection and paranoia. And these unconscious complexes have distorted all of our relationships. Like, we know that, right? You know that, I know that, everybody knows that. Beginning with family, companies, relationships, what I call social organs. These conglomerations of people into a shared mind, basically, are what we're calling egregores, or even memes. This is what memes are. When you have a kind of expansion of our identity into a group, it becomes its own psychic entity, just like, a group identity, right? We kind of cross-reference one another for likes and dislikes and moral faux pas and, behavior and other types of things, which then tie into our personal identity and emerge from our personal identity. So it's like people that we group up together with in these new logical entities, these mental egregores called families, companies, relationships. We let our barrier of ourself down a little bit, and we kind of accept these people as extensions of ourselves, right? And so we're very particular. We check and make sure that there's nothing which what I call poor ethical standards or bad. I use the term homeostatic. Something which is not socially homeostatic. For example, predatory behavior, right? Predatory behavior is socially not homeostatic because it's bad long term for the mental and social health of these organizations, of communities or families or companies, right? Predatory behavior, good example of what I'm talking about. So likewise, in the context of companies, if there's perceived predatory behaviors, there's perceived negative behavior, like that one person's being exploited or whatnot, and that just goes on unchecked. It leads to a lot of dissonance because it breaks down the transparency in the organization, right? Same with families, same with friend groups, everything else. Now, the problem with this is that you get a lot of people who are being dishonest in themselves, and they're they want to be exploited. You know, not that they want to be exploited, but they want to feel victimized, right? Which isn't fair on the behalf of the employee to the broader organization, for example, or one partner in a relationship to the other who gets off on feeling victimized, right? That's not fair. So that transparency, it begins in your own psyche by rooting out these unconscious complexes which want to project victimization and whatnot. And if you have an organization, whether it's a friendship, a relationship, or a company, where you have evolved people who are mature, who are spiritually inclined and have done the self-work and are able to relate to one another from transparency, the trust that you get from that right there is the cornerstone to rebuilding the world in a homeostatic way.